There are several red flag contract clauses that I think every realtor and their clients need to know about. But let's talk about 3 specifically right now. The first one I think is so important that many people don't really pay that much attention to is paragraph 21. Paragraph 21 is your notice provision. This says that notices are effective when they are in writing and delivered to whatever is specified in paragraph 21. Did you know that if you, a buyer, are trying to terminate a contract, but the notice provision is not abided by, meaning the buyer terminates under option period, but sends the termination to the listing agent, but the seller's email is actually in paragraph 21, technically the buyer didn't terminate under the option period according to the contract, and therefore the seller can actually argue that buyer doesn't have a right to terminate because they didn't get out under the option period in that case. So make sure that you are sending your notices in accordance with the contract in paragraph 21 to whatever email or address is put into paragraph 21. The second provision that I think people need to pay close attention to is paragraph 60. It's that blank that you fill in for objection time, meaning the buyer can object to the title and survey within blank amount of days after receiving the title and survey. Well, if you leave that blank, it says or up to the closing date. So if you leave it blank, you're allowing the buyer to object to the title and survey all the way up to the closing date. So make sure you fill in paragraph 60. And last but not least, just for today, one of the HOA provisions is one that I think people need to pay close attention to. In your HOA addendum, it says that buyer can terminate 3 days after receipt of the HOA information. Whether the buyer gets the HOA information or the seller gets the HOA information, buyer can terminate for any reason. It doesn't have to be because of the HOA stuff within 3 days of receipt. So why would you as the seller not deliver that HOA information to the buyer prior to executing the contract to remove that option of termination for any reason for 3 days after receipt during the contract period?